Chapter 10, I'm not going to give you a big intro on this one because it's a relatively short chapter and we can fly through it pretty quickly. But chapter 10, he refers back to the gold motif. He told me to say gold. I remembered. What was he talking about? So this is when we realised that Ponyboy has come off a little bit second best from the rumble. He doesn't quite realise that himself, but it becomes quite clear to us that something's not quite right, and maybe he's not thinking straight, or physically he's not where he should be. And then talking about Dally, it's kind of contrasted to Johnny Cakes, how no one would praise Dally, and now he's dead, and there wouldn't be anything about him. He didn't die a hero. He died violent and young and desperate, just like we all knew he'd die someday. But Johnny was right. He died gallant. So this is where we learn about the way that the gang kind of has a different system of honour, and they feel that he's a hero even if the broader, wider world doesn't think that he's a hero. So if you're talking about heroes in your essay, this might be something that's very useful. This is an inner monologue, so this is him thinking, and it's also what we call a stream of consciousness. So consciousness being your thinking, and a stream of consciousness being just writing what you say. So this is a stream of consciousness, inner monologue, of him just kind of blurting out all these thoughts. Don't think of this, don't think of that. So he's quite traumatized by the deaths, and so he's trying to kind of unfurl what he's thinking about at this point, and this is kind of how we learn about his inner thoughts throughout this chapter especially. Then we've got Gone with the Wind. This is obviously a motif in and of itself, and it tells us a lot about the sort of connection that they have, that Johnny and Ponyboy, their connection has some things to do with reading and education and learning new things, which is not also always true of the rest of the gang. And then just to finish off, I thought maybe I didn't ask for Darry, it was bugging me. So he's woken up after being asleep, so we might even think like maybe he was in a coma, or something quite serious was wrong with him, but it's never described in that way. And his main worry when he wakes up was that he had been calling out to people, and he's just double checking that. He also was checking up on Darry and asking after Darry, and this chapter we really get a really good feeling of how valued he is within the family and why everyone loves him, and how much they appreciate him as kind of the little brother, the one to look after, the one, maybe even the one that will make it, kind of the one that will break out of the gang life and become a success. And they were often talking about how he's smart and those sort of things, and in this chapter we really learn just how valuable he is to the group.